Hey demigods, it's Wise, and for today's video, I'll be tier ranking Riordanverse ships. And when I'm talking about Riordanverse ships, I'm talking about couples from PJO, Heroes of Olympus, Trials of Apollo, the Kane Chronicles, and Magnus Chase. Before getting into it, I'll be including both non-canon and canon ships. So for those of you who don't know, canon ships mean couples that the author established in the books, whereas non-canon ships would mean couples that didn't happen but some fans wanted it to. Also, here's the groups I'll be tier ranking them in. OTP, which means one true pairing, and couples I really love. Sorta OTP would mean couples that I generally like or love. The like tier would mean ships I'm just okay with or I'm in the middle with. Not really would mean couples I don't really like, and no way would mean couples I hate. Last thing before getting into it, spoiler warning for all the series, and with that, let's get started. The first couple I see over here is Bekengard from PJO. Bekengard is the ship name for the Charles Bekendorf and Silena Beauregard pairing. And out of all the ships in the Riordanverse, I would say that this is the most sad and heartbreaking, because both of them lost their lives in the last Olympian. Both of them sacrificed themselves for the greater good, and to be honest, they deserve so much more. So for this ship, I'll place it in sorta OTP. I'm placing it there because even if I do like them together, we weren't able to see that much of them in these 5 books. So overall, they go there. Next is Caleo from the Heroes of Olympus and Trials of Apollo series. Okay, so Caleo is the ship name for the Calypso and Leo pairing, and this is the ship that people have mixed opinions about. If you've watched my review of The Dark Prophecy, then you'd know what I feel about their relationship. I feel like there wasn't that much of a grounded friendship between the two of them, and that their love story was quite rushed. Also, I would say that their relationship is my least favorite in the fandom because of how much the two of them argued and fought in the Trials of Apollo series. They did say that they were going to get a break from their relationship, which, on its own, it's sort of a bad sign because their relationship problems resulted to them taking a break from each other. So, for this couple, I'll place them in the like tier because generally I do like them together, but it just isn't my favorite. Next is Chris from PJO. Chris is the ship name for Clarice LaRue and Chris Rodriguez, and I have to place them in the like tier. Even if I do like their relationship, I didn't really bond with it as much because there's little to no info about them in PJO. Sure, there were a few hints and details there, but it wasn't enough to make me fully love this ship. So, because of all that, they're going to the like tier. Next is Frazel from the Heroes of Olympus series and the Trials of Apollo. This is a really easy choice, the OTP tier. Frazel is the ship name for the Frank and Hazel pairing, and I would say that this is a really underrated ship and that nobody really talks about it. I find it really sad because I just love their relationship so much, and they're by far one of the cutest couples in these books. So overall, Frazel's an OTP for me. Next is Gruniper from PJO, Heroes of Olympus, and Trials of Apollo. Gruniper is the ship name for the Grover and Juniper pairing, and like Frazel, I would say it's by far one of the cutest couples in these series. Grover having a girlfriend was pretty shocking to me when I first read about it in the Battle of the Labyrinth, and sure we weren't able to see that much of their relationship, as the first mention we get about it is when they were already dating, but I absolutely loved it. Juniper is a very kind person, and added with Grover's personality, I think they're a really great match. So, I'll place them in sorta OTP. Next is Jasper or Jipper from the Heroes of Olympus and Trials of Apollo. It is also the Jason and Piper pairing. I might go against the popular opinion here, but I'm doing it anyway. I'm placing it in sorta OTP. I think I'm one of the few fans who actually like Jason and Piper's relationship, and my reasoning is that despite the fact that their relationship was based on fake memories, they really grew to love each other and they established real love. Sure, it's not the best pairing and romance story Rick ever wrote, but still, I believe it was a good relationship, and a pretty healthy one too. So, for that, they go to sorta OTP. Next is Jaina, a non-canon ship. Jaina is the ship name for the Reyna and Jason pairing, and I would place them in sorta OTP. I'm placing them there because I just feel like if Jason's memories were never tampered by Hera, he would be in a relationship with Reyna. I mean, the two of them are very close friends, and Reyna even admitted to Percy in The Son of Neptune that if Jason didn't go missing, they might have had a romantic relationship. Next is Hazel, another non-canon ship. Hazel is the ship name for the Leo and Hazel pairing, and not gonna lie, I sorta like it. It's not really said, but I think that Leo had a sort of crush on Hazel. They bonded a lot in the Mark of Athena and the House of Hades, and okay, I know for a fact the main reason why they bonded was because of Sammy Valdez, who was Hazel's first boyfriend before Hazel died and came back to life. You see, Sammy was Leo's great-great-grandfather, and when he realized that Hazel died, he was heartbroken. But eventually, he married an unknown woman and became Leo's great-great-grandfather. Despite that though, I think that Leo and Hazel are better off as just friends, which they do eventually become. So I'm placing this in the like tier. I like their concept and I see the connection and the tension the two of them have, but like I said earlier, I prefer them just as friends. Next is, oh my gosh, Percabeth, which is another non-canon ship. An automatic place to no way. I don't think I've ever mentioned this pairing or gave my thoughts on this ship in my previous videos, so this might be a lengthy discussion because I have quite a lot of thoughts. So Percabeth is the ship name for the Luke and Annabeth pairing, and let's talk about it. In The Lightning Thief, it was pretty obvious that Annabeth had a crush on Luke, and all throughout, it seemed like he just saw her as a little sister, until suddenly, he sort of reciprocated her crush and saw her as more of a romantic partner, which, side note, made Percy jealous. I'm sorry, I don't really think I can't not mention that. Like, Percy didn't realize that the annoyance he had with Annabeth's crush on Luke was because he was jealous. He was just so oblivious to his feelings. But anyway, one of the main reasons why I don't like this ship is because I didn't understand as to how Luke came from caring her like a little sister to loving her like a romantic partner. Also, he's like so many years older than her, which is pretty weird, and he endangered her life multiple times to the fact that I don't think it's forgivable anymore. I know that there are people who are going to tell me that he tried to spare her a couple of times, but no. He made horrible choices, and he should have seen how that would affect everyone. He should have considered that first before he did the things that he did. So, overall, in my opinion, it was a pretty toxic relationship, and it just belongs in that tier. Next is, Percial, a non-canon ship. I'm placing it in not really. Percial is the ship name for the Percy and Rachel pairing, and I would say that I didn't really like them together. I think the main reason why is because I've been rooting for Percabeth and not Percial. I don't really hate this ship, but I don't love it either. I think that Rachel and Percy are better off as friends, and that nothing should have happened there between the two of them. In fact, I would even go on to say that Rick made that plot point just to annoy his readers because it was pretty obvious that Percy and Annabeth were endgame, and he wanted to add some sort of obstacle for that. So, overall, Percial is in not really. Next is Percabeth, a very easy and automatic place to the OTP tier. If there was an option higher than OTP, I would even place it there. Out of all the couples I've ever read in my entire life, I would say that Percy and Annabeth stands as my number one favorite. It was a slow burn kind of romance. It took its time, it wasn't rushed, there was a very grounded friendship, the two characters care so much for one another, to the fact that I would even argue that they would die for each other. They've been through so much together, and that really shaped their relationship to something even bigger. Annabeth even mentioned that friend or boyfriend wasn't enough to describe Percy, because it was like he was a part of her, a part she couldn't live without. Plus, the many moments they had together will be forever in my heart. From the kiss on the cheek Annabeth gave to Percy in the Sea of Monsters, to the "I'm glad you're not a guinea pig" line, to their first kiss in the Battle of the Labyrinth, to the underwater kiss in The Last Olympian, them reuniting in the Mark of Athena, them choosing to fall into literal hell for each other, to Percy saying, "The rivalry ends here, I love you, wise girl," to "The world was collapsing, and the only thing that really mattered to me was that she was alive." Percabeth has grew up so much that I think they're the best couple ever, and so far, nothing has beat my love for this ship. It was always at the top bar, and at this point, I think it'll stay like that. I like them both as their own characters, and I love them so much together. Like, Percabeth for life. Next is... oh boy. Nico. Okay, whatever. Nico is a non-canon ship, and it pairs Percy and Nico. In the House of Hades, we learn the fact that Nico was gay and in love with Percy this entire time. And learning about it pretty shook me up, because I didn't think that would happen. I didn't even feel the fact that Nico was gay or his attraction towards Percy at all. They did have a rocky relationship, but they ended up on good terms with one another. So I would place this in not really. Nico even admitted himself that he doesn't feel that way anymore, and now he's with Will, and he seems pretty happy. Finally, I just want them to be friends, and I'm glad that they are. Next is... wait a minute, is this Percabeth? Okay, so I'm placing this in not really. So, Piper and Annabeth. This never happened in the books, but I think I sort of understand. They became really close in the House of Hades, and I didn't think it was going to develop into something more than that. I know, Piper's bisexual by the Tower of Nero, and I've read that chapter with Shell. But still, I don't feel it as much. I just feel like it was a close relationship, and that was that. Plus, Percy's with Annabeth, and I don't think she's a lesbian. Like, I've never felt it. So, this ship is going to not really. Next is Solangelo from the Kane Chronicles. Solangelo is the ship name for the Sadie, Walt, and Anubis thing that happened. I can't technically call it a pairing because pairing means two people, so yeah. I would say that I was shocked that Rick solved the love triangle that way. I ended up being okay with it, but it's not my most favorite. So I'll place it in sorta OTP. Next is Solangelo from the Trials of Apollo. Okay, an automatic place to the OTP tier. I absolutely love Will and Nico's relationship, and I just can't stress it enough. I love Solangelo, and how happier Nico is with Will just warms my heart every time I get to read about them. I mean, Nico deserves it. This kid has been through too much for his age, and I think they're a great match despite the fact that they're sort of polar opposites. I just love these two, and I'm absolutely excited for the standalone book that'll come out next year. Next is Thaluk, a non-canon ship. Thaluk is the pairing of Luke and Thalia, and to be honest, I'm placing it in sorta OTP. I like Thaluk. Luke and Thalia loves and cares about each other, and how they ended terms wasn't the best. As we all know, Luke betrays everyone at Camp Half-Blood to side with Kronos, and in the Titan's Curse, Thalia fought Luke on her own, which I think deep inside slowly killed her. The fact that Thalia had the courage and the strength to fight the person she was in love with for the sake of everyone says a lot about her, and I really admire that. I'm placing this ship in sorta OTP because I think that if Luke didn't turn evil, they would be in a relationship, and that they would be fighting Kronos side by side. Next is Athena. Athena is the non-canon ship, and it pairs Thalia and Reyna. For me, this is going to not really. I get the fact that they're best friends and that there are people thinking they're going to end up together as Reyna joined the Hunters under Thalia's wing, but I disagree. The Hunters don't like any type of romance, and I just feel like they're just friends. I like their relationship as best friends though, and that I can support, but them romantically, no. I wouldn't want that. So they're going to not really. Next is Tysella. Tysella is the ship name for the Tyson and Ella pairing, and I'm placing this in sorta OTP again. I like their relationship, and I honestly find it so cute, even if it seems a bit weird for a Cyclops and a Harpy to get together. So, Tysella's in sorta OTP. Next is Zarter from the Kane Chronicles. I think I've said time and time again that I absolutely love their relationship, and because of that, they're going to the OTP tier. Since book 1, I've been rooting for the two of them to end up together, and I just love them so much. Zia and Carter's relationship is pretty underrated, but I love them, and that's just what matters to me. And last but not the least is Fiyero Chase from Magnus Chase. This is a very easy decision, the OTP tier. I've gave my thoughts on Fiyero Chase in all the books I read in 2021 video, and like I said in that video, initially I didn't really like it. But towards the last book, both Magnus and Alex bonded and became very close. Plus, their first kiss would be forever iconic to me. So, because I felt that, they're going to the OTP tier. So how about you? Which couple is your most favorite? Let me know in the comments down below.